Welcome back, guys, to my YouTube channel. Today on the channel I will be discussing Aboki FX and everything you need to know about the parallel or the black market. Now, if you recall, about 2 weeks ago, precisely on the 17th of September 2021, the central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria, while responding to questions about the economy and particularly about the legality or otherwise of the activities of Aboki FX, the central bank governor made a statement that the owner of Aboki FX, which is the website we all know, publishes parallel market rates against the naira, that is the exchange rate from dollar to naira, pounds to naira, euros, and any other foreign exchange against the naira. The CBN governor referred to the owner of Aboki FX as an illegal foreign exchange dealer, and he didn't actually stop at that. He actually made a statement that the CBN was going to crack down on the owner and he was going to be prosecuted. And there was a lot of reactions, and immediately on that same day, Aboki FX released a statement on its website denying the allegations and also decided to suspend publication of the naira exchange rates on its website until it gets clarity on the issue. Now, the CBN referred to a number of reasons, also said that the value of the naira should be determined by the CBN pursuant to the CBN Act. However, from the reactions online, a few other analyses have sprung up. Now, the one that actually holds is the analysis that the activities of Aboki FX is likely to be in contravention of an old law or an old act of the National Assembly known as the National Economic Intelligence Committee Act, the NEIC Act, for the purpose of this video. Now, follow me. That act establishes a body to be known as the National Economic Intelligence Committee Act, and it is to monitor the economy and to recommend fiscal measures to the president. And in particular, other than just establishing the committee, that act also creates offenses. Now, offense number 1, and the offenses are contained in section 11 of that particular act. Section 11, subsection 1A, declares that any activity that is done outside the official foreign exchange market is illegal, and whoever engages in it does so in contravention of the act and commits an offense. Now, it would appear that that section or that provision is what makes buying dollars from the street, from Abokis, right, or from the Malams, not BDCs. And I think it is important to make that distinction, that the black market is not BDC, because BDCs are authorized buyers licensed by the CBN to sell dollars for the purposes of traveling, that is business travel allowance, personal travel allowance, payment of school fees, credit cards, and to a maximum of $5,000. So when you buy from BDCs, that is a recognized and official foreign exchange transaction recognized by the CBN. And we're going to come back to the regime for foreign exchange just in a bit. But what the act is criminalizing is buying outside of the recognized participant of the foreign exchange market, that is the authorized dealers, who are the banks licensed to deal in foreign exchange, or authorized buyers, who are either hotels licensed to deal in foreign exchange, corporate bodies, or bureau de change as we know them. So when you buy directly from a Malam or any other person, it is an offense according to this act, because it is not one of the recognized channels of foreign exchange in the market. So let me take it back just a little bit, and then we'll come back to Aboki FX. So today, what law actually regulates the buying and selling of foreign exchange of foreign currencies in Nigeria? The primary act is an act which actually succeeds the NEIC Act because it was enacted later in time. The NEIC Act, I must note, was enacted in 1994. The following year, the National Assembly, or the military government at the time, enacted the Foreign Exchange Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provisions Act, which we know today as the FEMA Act, 1995. Now, Section 37, subsection 1 of that particular act, the FEMA Act, provides that the provisions of any other law, including the NEIC Act, shall be read in modification to bring it in conformity with the FEMA Act. So any provision of the NEIC Act which is inconsistent or which may go against the spirit of the FEMA Act is supposed to be read in conformity with the FEMA Act. So it's on this basis that some people have argued that the purpose of the FEMA Act was to liberalize the market, to establish an autonomous market, and it cannot be correct that another offense under the NEIC Act, which is section 11 subsection 1 paragraph B, says that any person who conducts a foreign exchange transaction at a rate higher than the rate approved by the CBN also commits an offense. Now, when you look at the FEMA Act, which is later in time, the FEMA Act makes provisions in section 9 as to how to determine the rate of a foreign exchange transaction. And according to the FEMA Act, the rate of any foreign exchange transaction shall be determined mutually between the purchaser and the authorized dealer or buyer, as the case may be. So you can go to Bank A to purchase foreign currency, and Bank A can say today was selling at, based on the market, was selling at 461. Bank B can say was selling at 460. Or you can go to the I&E window, which is the investors and the exporters window, and then you see that it is selling at a slightly higher or lower rates. Now, seeing that the CBN established these different windows pursuant to a circular and pursuant to the act, it means that in the market today, you are able to actually enter into a transaction, foreign exchange transaction in particular, at a rate higher than the rate approved by the CBN, right? And it will not be inconsistent with the NEIC Act, to put it differently, it will not be an offense, as contemplated by the NEIC Act. And any inconsistency, now when you look at subsection 2 of section 37 of the FEMA Act, it says where there is any inconsistency between the NEIC Act and the FEMA Act, that inconsistency, that the FEMA Act first of all will prevail, and the inconsistency in that other law shall be null and void, or whatever provision in that act that is inconsistent with the FEMA Act will be null and void to the extent of such inconsistency. Now let us bring it back to the Aboki FX conversation. So first of all, what is Aboki FX doing? Aboki FX publishes rates, which according to Aboki FX, it gets or it sources from malams on the street. That is how they are selling and buying, and those rates are determined, according to them, by the forces of demand and supply. Now, recall that the parallel market is an illegal market outside of the recognized markets or channels, including banks, BDCs, or licensed hotels and corporate bodies who are either authorized dealers or buyers. Aboki FX's rates are from the streets, from the black market. Now, that is the first thing. Now, Aboki FX in real time, once it gets information from the ground that the rate has changed, it has reduced or gone up, it will update its website. So it publishes in real time the black market rates. Under the National Economic Intelligence Committee Act, the NEIC Act, Section 11, subsection 1, paragraph C makes it a crime for anybody, corporate body, person, yada yada, to publish a rate other than the rate determined by the CBN. Now that is where the real bone of contention is. That the rate being published by Aboki FX, are they rates determined by the CBN? Now we can say by extension that any other rates recognized by the CBN will not go in contradiction with those. And the CBN governor at that meeting made the point that if Aboki FX is able to show them where they are getting the rates from, is it from a BDC? Is it from a bank? Or is it from any other approved channel by the CBN? That if they were published, so the act does not criminalize publishing rates recognized by the CBN or determined by the CBN. What it criminalizes is publishing rates other than those. So for instance, the FMDQ publishes the NAFEX rates, which is the autonomous foreign exchange market rate, on its website based on the average transactions on the investors and exporter window. And that window was also established by the CBN, right? So the FMDQ is not in violation of any law because it is authorized by the CBN to publish those rates according to the guidelines, which establishes the I&E window. The BDCs as well, according to the FEMA Act, they are authorized buyers, and that the CBN determines or monitors the rates at which they sell. Based on the forces of demand and supply, they are also recognized and authorized personnel. The banks as well, interbank rates, and based on the forces of demand and supply, they are able to also determine the rates. And you see them when you go into a bank, the rate at which they are selling on that particular day is published on the notice board. So the CBN simply said in that meeting that if Aboki FX is able to show them where they are getting that, which authorized source are they getting their rates from, then it wouldn't have been an issue. The issue is that they're getting it from the black market, which according to the FEMA Act is an illegal market, and according to the NEIC Act. So that is really the issue.